got to meet one of the kids.
Yeah.
Where'd he go? Where did he go?
He's gone upstairs now.
Oh, he ran up the stairs. Good to see you, Gail. Welcome, everyone, to the John Lavenia Success Mastermind for Friday, November 27th, 2020. 2020 is almost over. It is Black Friday here in the United States. Check out my Facebook wall for any of you who use Facebook. I barely do, but I got a really funny picture on there. Let's see who we got here today. We got Adrian and Ivier, Mark, Caroline, Nikki, Gail, Ego. Of course, Suzanne's here in the tropics. Look at you. You look great. Mandy, Sandy, Sharon is driving. Hey, Sharon, good to see you. Sharon's got that, she's got that steering wheel cam going on, just like some others have done. I think she learned that here. Cyril's here. Sandra, Mary, Coral, Bill, Toba, and more. It is here. What is it? Since it's Black Friday, we got a lot of people that are probably here in the States anyway, overstuffed with turkey and swimming in tryptophan and asleep right now because our crowd is a little bit light. But it is good to see all my friends tuning in. Here comes a few more people. Welcome to you guys. Today is Friday. Not only is it Black Friday, but it is Friday. It's Fun Friday, which we do every week. And as is tradition, well, we already started with fun, right? Just before we went live here, Ivier, why don't we bring Ivier out here? Because we love hearing from Ivier.
Can I just say it's Stuart's birthday as well? Can we all wish Stuart
oh my
a happy
goodness,
birthday?
it's the Llama King's birthday.
I don't think he's actually on, but if we're recording it, happy birthday, Stuart.
Yay, Stuart, the Llama King.
Happy birthday, Llama King.
Yay.
Happy birthday, Stuart.
We love Stuart. I raised my cup.
Happy birthday, Stuart.
There you go. Congratulations, Stuart, for making it another year. By the way, Stuart, who is one of our facilitators here, for those of you who might just be discovering the John Lavenia Success Mastermind, it is not all John Lavenia. In fact, I get as much out of this as everybody else because I get to sit back and relax and listen and philosophize with people like, excuse me, with people like Stuart and Ego and Adrian and Ivier and Mark and Gail and others that you're seeing here right now. And we get to have, I think, enlightening conversations to help us move us forward, or move ourselves forward in a variety of different ways, including and especially with online business, which is, I think, a hot topic right now, especially with what 2020 has turned out to be. Who expected this? That's interesting, right? In fact, that's going to be a segue into our topic for today. I just got my topic just now, just when I heard what just came out of my mouth. I just got my topic. Thank you. Thanks, John. You're welcome. I'll give you a topic every day. That's just fine. But let's hear from Ivier real quick. Ivier, just a little bit of fun, and then we can maybe hear some jokes or whoever's got their guns loaded with some Fun Friday material. Ivier.
Thank you, John. Hello, everyone. For those of you that were on early enough, I've kind of like given you the names and the age and the gender of the children that you're buying gifts for. Please liaise with the parent or grandparent for shipping address. The limit is £10 or $10, depending on where you are. But if you feel led to go above that amount, that's your prerogative. I just set something that everybody in the family should be able to afford. I'm doing it today and deadline so that you have enough time to buy the gift, wrap it, and ship it out and meet the deadlines in your various countries for postal services, et cetera, et cetera. I've also tried to match people in Canada with kids in Canada and, like that, so you don't have additional shipping costs for those who were really adamant about that. If you do have an issue, however, with the child you've been matched with because it's over the borders or whatever, just let me know and I can always, just swap things around. Yeah. So that's where we are. Thank you so much, everyone, for participating. This has been brilliant.
Beautiful. Thank you, Ivier. Thank you for arranging this. I'm so excited. I told my daughter, Trinity, that she's going to be involved in this gift exchange. She might, in fact, receive a gift from someone outside of the United States. How exciting, because we're all over the world. And I said, go ahead and pick something worth like $10. And so she's combing Amazon looking for,
wow.
Yeah, she's something. All right. So here's what we're doing today. I'm sure many of you know what liaise means. Who can spell it without looking at a dictionary, without getting on your search engine? Who can spell
Liaise.
Liaise.
Liaise?
No, there's an I in there. There's a second
There's an
I in
I.
there. Liaise.
Ah, man, you guys are
Liaise.
better spellers than me. I just had to look it up, like, and I was wrong like 5 times. Liaise.
S-E, yeah.
Ah, okay. I thought maybe there's an E, liaise, right? It's from the military liaison, right? I'm sure Mark knows.
It's French, John. French.
There you go. There you go. Originally, all right. So hold on a second here. Liaise, verb, establish a working relationship, typically in order to cooperate on a matter of mutual concern. She will liaise with teachers across the country. 1920s, originally military slang, back formation from liaison. Click on liaison. And of course, Adrian is right. Of course, Adrian's right. Mid 17th century, as a cookery term, from French, from lier, to bind. Etymology, baby. I love me some etymology first thing on a Friday morning. Okay, who else has a joke or a dog or something else you want to share with us before we get into our topic for today? Caroline, Mandy, Suzanne?
I got a joke.
Hey, Mark.
Typical aviation joke. You got to go with the aviation route. So what did the football player say to the flight attendant?
Don't know.
Put me in, coach.
Put me in, coach.
Put me in, coach.
That's great. I remember years ago getting on a Southwest flight. They said, well, you know, all the seats are first class, all of them. So when you fly Southwest, every seat is first class. They're all coach. There's no first class. All right, good stuff. Thank you, Mark. Anybody else? Come on down. Okay, great. So, I got a couple things going on here that I want to share with you. First, I want to acknowledge everyone for this week's theme, which evolved on its own. If you've been following along each day, as almost all of our members do, right? Whether we tune in live or recorded, but we've had a bit of a theme this week of gratitude and Thanksgiving in the lowercase term, right? And of course, yesterday here in the United States was Thanksgiving uppercase, and I think that's appropriate that we tend to put our mind on things that we're grateful for, and as we were also reminded of and enlightened this week, things that we expect to be grateful for. So we're grateful for things we have, but can we also cultivate gratitude for things that have not yet appeared in our lives? Now, what did I hear come out of my mouth just as I was greeting everyone and getting ready to go live here? Boy, what a year. Who expected this? Aha. Okay. So expectation. So we've got gratitude. We got expectant gratitude. And then I'm thinking we've got creation, co-creation, causation. What's the old saying? The best way to predict the future is to create it. So I've heard that we pretty much get what we expect. So even if we are, like we read about in the book in Think and Grow Rich this week, we were studying the chapter on the subconscious mind. Brilliant chapter, brings together a lot of the other principles. But I've heard that the idea is that your innermost expectations for yourself, right? Your self-image, your work, the things that you do are what's going to actually make your choice. In other words, it's not just the conscious thinking, I want this, but it's the subconscious non-thinking, I suppose, or that which you're not necessarily thinking about, although that you've indoctrinated yourself into through repetition, through autosuggestion, through persistence, through thinking on these things of good report, as Paul said in the Bible, right? So we can indoctrinate ourselves into an expectant state of what? Of hopefully something that we want, right? And it works both ways, right? We can also get what we don't want. We can expect things to not work out. We can be down in the dumps. We can be apathetic. That doesn't sound very good. I've been there. Why bother trying? There's no use, right? Anybody want to try that affirmation on? Please don't. Please don't. Okay, but am I making a point? The point is that the inner dialogue, that which we're always talking to ourselves about, ourselves, and what we expect is what actually makes our choice. So despite the force that we may apply, and I've observed this in my own life, trying to force solutions on problems, right? Despite any force that I may be inclined to apply, it's actually more like an autopilot or a thermostat, like Maxwell Maltz talked about in Psycho-Cybernetics. Now, that's not a book that we've covered formally here in this group yet. But in this book, Maxwell Maltz, for those who don't know, he was a plastic surgeon. And he would notice that there were some interesting reactions and realities that happen for people once they've had their reconstructive surgery or whatever it happened to be, cosmetic, etc. And he said some people would be like a whole new person, their personality, right, their self-image, how they occurred, in society, in the world, their interactions with people. Some people, despite tremendous difference, right? I mean, look at the picture, right? Before, after, look at the mirror, right? Some of them would be like, I don't even see any difference, doctor. I don't see any difference. And they would continue as that person, behaving and expecting and occurring in the world just like they did prior to whatever, this led up to their surgery and all this. And so he got thinking about the self-image and how that is actually a very dominant thing, more so than, how the person looks. He gave some examples about a salesman who felt like they had, big ears or something, and, different features that they lacked confidence, right? And so he gives all these different examples. But one of the things that came from this is the idea of what he called psycho-cybernetics. Now, here's a brief explanation of what that means. Psycho meaning the study of the mind and spirit. Okay, psycho originally means study of the spirit, right? Psyche means spirit, but in modern parlance, it's more about the mind, especially with a lot of the materialism that has been part of much of modern philosophy. So we're getting, I guess, closer to being grounded, right? If we're just talking about the mind, which is an instrument that the spirit uses. Okay, I'm not going to get into like deep, triune beings and body, mind, spirit, although hopefully you all get what I'm talking about here. You're not your mind. You have a mind, but you are not your mind. And he talked about how this cybernetic mechanism, so psycho meaning study of the mind and spirit, cybernetics, a mechanism of control, like he called a servo motor, right? So like the switch turns on and it operates the other thing. Like when you turn the key, do we have keys in our cars anymore? Most of us, we just press a button or we click the remote control. But there is a switch that happens, right? Regardless of what the switch looks like. There's a switch that happens, which sends power to electronic systems, a motor that starts moving the engine, right? Then the engine starts, okay? But that's like a servo mechanism. It's like, here's the controller. This is a little switch. And here's the motor. This is what does the work, okay? The switch doesn't do the work. The switch commands the machinery to do the work. And so what he was talking about with psycho-cybernetics was this idea that we've all got this autopilot, this servo mechanism, this thermostat, if you will, which despite our efforts to force ourselves off course in a positive or negative direction, we pretty much get what we expect based on our innermost belief about ourselves, our self-image. So one example would be an actual autopilot mechanism in a plane, right? We've got a lot of aviators here, at least two of them that I know of. And so the pilot takes off, right? They set this autopilot. And let's say they're leaving from Phoenix and they're going to Boise, Idaho, okay? And so they set the autopilot and the plane starts going north in this case. Well, even if the pilot was to take the steering wheel or whatever there is in the cockpit and try and move the plane off course, as soon as they let go, despite the fact that they're forcing it off course, the plane would return to the predetermined outcome, Boise, Idaho, right? You can't force it towards Winnipeg or I don't know, Mexico City or something. It's going to keep correcting itself. So force doesn't work. When the autopilot is doing its when the autopilot is doing its job, force doesn't work. In fact, it's a whole lot of work to force it off course, but as soon as you let go, you're back on course, whether you wanted to go to Boise or not. All right. Same thing with like a thermostat. So you've got the thermostat in the house, right? And it measures the temperature inside the room. And let's say you're in Boise right now and it's cold because it's up north and it's winter, and you open the door and cold air comes in. The thermostat, as a cybernetic mechanism, can measure the deviation from the set outcome, let's say 72 degrees Fahrenheit or whatever it is. Okay. Oh, it's now 68 degrees. Turns on the heater and causes the experience, right? The expected and predetermined experience to be 72 degrees. Works the other way too. It's hot in Phoenix. You open the door, air conditioning kicks on. You get the point. Okay. So what this mechanism is a mechanism that can measure any deviation from a pre-planned outcome and make corrections to put it back on course. I've heard aviators say that the plane is technically off course almost always, right? So 98% of the time, it's this thing moving through the air. It's not like you can keep it in the middle of the lane, like car wheels on ground, gravity, right? Friction, rubber sticking to asphalt. You don't have any of that, right? You're floating through the air. So it's off course almost always. Fine, right? We've got measuring devices and cybernetic mechanisms. Great. Sign me up. Now, here's the thing. You got signed up for that whether you like it or not. So while we can look at that objectively and say, well, man created this machinery to do his bidding. Oh, that's very nice. Very nice. Okay, well, this machinery was also created to do your bidding if you use it. What if we just, that was the example that Earl Nightingale gave. He was driving, this is out of the Strangest Secret. Everyone listen to The Strangest Secret by Earl Nightingale. I know everyone who's joined this group, I made sure to deliver to you via your email an audio recording of The Strangest Secret. Like, this is required listening. I've heard it at least 1,000 times. This was actually the recording that Bob Proctor, one of my first mentors, listened to over and over and over again when he was becoming successful. In his case, he had it on a portable record player, and he would drive around in his car playing it over and over again on a freaking record player. How does that work? Anyway, we've got better electronics now. But something Earl Nightingale said, he remembers driving through eastern Arizona. My ears perked up. Oh, eastern Arizona. Okay, well, I'm in central Arizona. But he remembers seeing one of those giant earth-moving machines roaring along the road at about 30 miles an hour. And on top was a little man perched at the wheel, controlling it. And he said, imagine if you were in command of such, great machinery. Are you going to sit back and fold your arms and let it run itself into a ditch? Or are you going to keep your hands firmly on the wheel and guide this great power to a specific worthwhile end? It's up to you. You're in the driver's seat. End of quote. That's almost verbatim. I may have missed a word here or there, but that's almost verbatim what he said. So imagine this tremendous power that we have, and we can use it, or it could be used against us. And I think, do what you will with this, but I think, as crazy as this might sound, not everyone on planet Earth, in other words, your fellow Earthlings, not everyone has your best interest in mind. I don't mean to sound dark. I know it's Fun Friday. It's Black Friday. Go look at my Facebook wall. I got my Black Friday picture on there. But I would say that there are some people who don't think win-win, who don't think mutual benefit, who don't really consider posterity, because they don't consider posterity, right? It's right now, what can I get for me right now? Me. Does that sound cynical? Okay. Then I'm cynical. Fine. But I would argue that there are people who really couldn't give a flip. So what about you? Are you worthy of stepping up for yourself, standing up for yourself and saying, you know what, despite these circumstances that we may not have expected, and we can't specifically choose our circumstances. Okay. James Allen said, and as a man thinketh, man cannot choose his circumstances, but he can choose his thoughts. and they're so indirectly but surely shape his circumstances. Okay, so can we, in the face of whatever circumstances, pleasing or not, caused by you or not by you, right? You're not alone here on this planet. Can we stand up for ourselves and say, I'm going to make lemonade? That's what I'm going to do. Because the cybernetic mechanism, right? So now here comes the turbulence hitting the plane, and so that's lemons, right? So we're going to go ahead and make lemonade. Let's adjust the flaps, the hydraulics, the engines, the whatever, right? I'm not a plane guy. All right. Or here's a turd. Here's a turd. Okay. And now we're going to outmaneuver the turd. This is something that, well, we've been kind of been in this conversation, since we all met. I've been in this conversation since before I met most of you about what can I do? What part of this can I be responsible for? And the number one thing that I must be responsible for, if I have any shot whatsoever, is my own thinking. The one thing that I can control. Viktor Frankl, in his classic book, Man's Search for Meaning, for those who have not read that book, he was a survivor of the concentration camps. There's a turd. How's that for a turd? Circumstances that you weren't necessarily expecting or finding pleasing, right? Well, he survived and he became successful afterwards. But he, in that dark situation, he saw himself and cultivated some expectation for himself and felt the feelings as if it was already happening. Himself lecturing his class in Los Angeles, with driving down the Rodeo Drive with the palm trees, right? Seeing the details, imagining what it would be like, what it will be like for him when he's regained his liberty. And of course, he wrote about, meaning. His book was titled Man's Search for Meaning. What does it all mean? Interesting question, right? But I'm thinking for ourselves, and I think for myself, what part of this, whatever this is, can I be responsible for? What part of this can I have an effect? And am I expecting, not hoping? This is a difference. And hope might be the on-ramp. It might be just a little kernel, a little flame, right? That yes, there is a light at the end of the tunnel, but we've got to augment that. We got to build that up. And we do that through constant spaced repetition, also known as autosuggestion, by persisting in choosing the right thought. That's why we've got the mental faculty known as will, right? Will, choose the right thought. A lot of people misuse that. They think they're going to force, there's that word. We're going to force ourselves onto a different course. No. Will is about choosing the right thought often enough that we get emotionally involved with it as it is a reality, a full expectation, gratitude in advance, like we were reminded of earlier this week. So then the question is, with 1 month left in this year, this very interesting, enlightening year, how are we going to end it? And how are we going to start this 2021? I'm saying right now, what do we expect for 2021? It was 2 months ago where I issued a challenge to the group. What can we accomplish in the next 90 days? 60 of those are gone. 30 left. 31, 35, whatever it is. Okay. But if not now, then when? That's the question I was asking myself today. While I was in the gym, just before I got on here with you guys, I was doing my lifting weights, doing my thing. And I was thinking, you know what? How's my 2021 going to be? Clock's ticking. And oh my goodness, I almost can't believe that it's the end of November. How did that happen? 2020, in my perspective, kind of flew by. Now, of course, that's because I've put myself in a position to be busy and productive, regardless of what is being reported on the news and everything else. I've put myself in a position to be productive. Stats up. Can you do that? I think many people here are inclined to do that, of course, right? You've got e-commerce, you've got businesses that don't require your physical presence. My goodness, we're doing this right now without our physical presence. The vast majority of us have never met each other in person. If you're watching this on YouTube or Facebook right now, we may never have met in person. Look, I've made millions of dollars with people, colleagues, business partners, etc., who I've never met in person. And I may never meet in person, but I know them. And some of them are like sisters and brothers to me. But, thank goodness for the interwebs. And we heard this week, multiple times, we heard this week that this forum right here, this one little thing that's happening on the internet right now, this Success Mastermind group, this one little thing that's happening has been a catalyst for people who perhaps without this may not have decided on a course of action, may not have recognized that, yes, they can have direction in their own lives and expect great things despite these unexpected, uncertain times, right? These circumstances. So for that, I'm grateful that I get to be a little piece of that, the ingredient and all that. But understand, it's you who runs the cybernetic mechanism. It's you with the self-image. I can't give you mine. By the way, mine has chinks in its armor too, right? I haven't arrived, right? Pick your problems. I'll tell you what. I think if we all threw our problems in the middle, in the middle of the table, we'd probably take all our own problems back, right? That's an interesting consideration. That's another statement of gratitude, by the way, right? It's like, well, you know what? I picked these problems, right? And I'm going to solve these problems. I am, right? I don't have to do everything alone. And again, that's the whole point of this group, is that you can't tackle big problems that affect the group as an individual, right? Certainly a powerful group is necessary, but to have a powerful group, you got to have powerful individuals. That is the component ingredients of a powerful group, is powerful individuals. So yes, it does come back to you. That just doesn't mean you have to do it all alone. And this is kind of a dichotomy that I've worked on and I'm still working on for some for some time now. Sorry, guys, I got a little tickle in my throat. But that's something that we've got to decide for ourselves. But we're not going to do it if we don't expect it. I'll leave you with the story, and then we'll open it up. And I've told this story before. It may have been Moses. This is like Old Testament stuff, I think. And so there's these people wandering through the desert, and it's a drought, right? They need water. They're thirsty. And so they go to their leader and say, we need water. And so the leader said, well, we'll pray to your God for rain. And the leader goes up into the hills and whatever, and comes back down a couple days later or whatever it is. And the followers say, well, God has forsaken us. It has not rained. And he said, where are the ditches? They said, well, what do you mean? Where are the ditches? He said, well, if you expected it to rain, you would have dug the ditches. Where are the ditches? So what are we expecting? If you expect it to rain, you're going to be digging ditches to collect the water. Act as if. This is the, again, another one of the chapters in Think and Grow Rich, right? Faith. This is huge. This overcomes fear, doubt, uncertainty. And what is the one known way, according to Napoleon Hill anyway, the one known way to induce faith? Autosuggestion. That which we tell ourselves about ourselves over and over and over again. In other words, our self-image, our innermost expectation of who we are and where we're going. You must be deliberate about this. Otherwise, you're folding your arms and you're letting the machine run itself into the ditch, which I've done plenty of. And it sucks. And then I get to be a victim. I mean, I get a whole lot of sympathy, I suppose. I can do that. Right? Oh, man. Oh, me. Poor me. You want to affirm that? Who wants to try that one on? Poor me? Oh, no, let's not say that one. Let's look at what we can do, you as an individual and with the power of your group, which can and should be expanding, as we hear from Glenn every Wednesday night on Networking Magic, right? Ways to expand your influence into the marketplace by whatever means. People buy from people. I heard my and look, I've been very remiss in this area, but I heard from Grant Cardone, 10X Rule, has his 10X conferences. He spoke on my wife's podcast a couple years ago. But Grant Cardone said, best known beats best. So you may have the best product, the best service, the best whatever, best known. And it was very pleasing hearing that coming from a guy like Grant, who made about $150 million last year, because his content, I wouldn't say it's the best. I mean, it's got its uses, right? It's not like some really highbrow philosophy or whatever. It's really simple, but best known. He gets it out there, man. I can't go anywhere without seeing this guy. The guy's everywhere. Same with people like Tony Robbins, right? And some of these others. You think of people who are very well known. Is their product the best in the world? Who knows, right? I guess that's very subjective. But best known, now we're talking. And this is where I've been remiss. And for me, what I'm looking at moving forward into the end of 2020 and 2021 is this one area of making better known that which I do, which I think is the best product in the world, by the way. This mastermind group and the consulting work I do and all this stuff, my goodness, there's nothing like this in the world. This shit rocks. This is friggin' amazing, I think. Okay, but I'm biased. I would venture that those of you who keep tuning in here, you're getting tremendous value out of this too. So I'm going to go ahead and use I'm creating my own expectations here. Use your feedback to corroborate my expectations of what we're doing here. Understand, this is not my group, right? This is we're steering this. We're steering this as a community, and I'm grateful for that, because my goodness, I don't have all the answers. And great news, I never had to. All you have to do is expect things to work. Expect it to work out right. Have some faith, damn it. Have some faith. And just keep showing up. Just keep showing up. That's probably 90% of it right there. And if I didn't have faith, I wouldn't persist. It's another direct quote from Earl Nightingale. If you didn't have faith, you wouldn't persist. Well, I persist. Will you? Will you persist? Because you believe in yourself enough and you know you're worth it. And you've got some positive expectations of what's coming next, despite anything that happened up to this point. Hit the reset button and say, you know what? I claim this right now. Name it and claim it. Here's where I'm going, starting right now. Sign me up, damn it. Here I come. I'm about to make a spectacle of myself. Can we do that? I think we must. And with that, I'm going to ask any of you what your thoughts are on this, because this is what's coming up for me. Expectation moving forward, 30 days left in the year or thereabouts. Adrian, what's coming up for you, my friend?
I'll throw some thoughts in, waiting for everyone else to stick their hands up. Try and entice somebody out like Mark. He's looking like he's going to say something. Yeah, John, I think, no, it's absolutely right. And taking responsibility for our actions is critical. And I think the difficulty for a lot of us is we get put in situations where we have to do something. It's preordained. They ain't going to give you that driving license until you pass the driving test. So you've got to study for that driving test, learn the material and do it. It's quite a well-defined process. It's a job you've just got to do. When we set ourselves a broader objective, particularly a very distant or big one, replicating that same deliberateness and persistence and consistency is not so easy. So I think that's what we've got to try and tackle in our plans for 2021, how to recreate the feeling you get where you've got to sit an exam where it's a definite outcome, a definite deadline. There's no getting around it. You just do it. And you sit there and you study like crazy and you do it. And somehow you get through it and you do the preparation. How to reproduce those feelings and translate them over, transmute them even, to a process which is not defined by somebody else, that you've got to define yourself. So you've got to set down the parameters. You've got to set the steps that are needed to complete. And you've then got to take those same feelings you get when someone else is driving you and now do it yourself. And that's what we've all got to crack. I think if we can crack that, John, I tell you, 2021 will look pretty incredible by next December.
That's what I'm expecting. This is going to be huge, 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 huge. Think of that rubber band that is stretched for so many people and how much power there is in that, right? There's clarity through contrast. I think I mentioned, was it yesterday, to someone or to the group, outdoorsmanship. That might be a good direction to go in after people have been in their houses for so long, right? That's probably going to be a booming business. I'm thinking of Stuart right now, our llama trekking friend. Okay, so we've got a few people here I want to share. Who wants to share next? Come on down, raise your hands, unmute your mics. Let's get this show on the road. Unless I put everybody to sleep. Did I just do that? Did that just happen? Hi, Coral. How are you, my friend?
Hi, John. Hi, John. I never come out near the front, but I've been thinking about this today, and it was really good what you said about, cybernetics, psycho-cybernetics. It's like this little sensor inside, isn't it? So when you set the temperature in your home, say let's say we set it for 75 degrees, and then somebody opens the front door and it's snowing outside and the temperature drops. So a message goes to the sensor and it says the temperature's dropped, let's get it back up to 75 degrees. So I've been coming to these daily meetings and learning how to reset my sensor, because my sensor up here was set very low. But gradually, with the help of the Success group and this family, it has helped me to up the temperature on my sensor. And I found that was something I wanted to speak about yesterday. It's about being grateful for that. See, I come out here and I start talking, then I forget what the heck I was going to say. It was really, really important when Adrian was talking, but I can't think of it now.
Well,
so
you know what, you
come
mentioned raising the temperature on the thermostat or what have you. And
Yeah.
to me, that means deliberately raising your own standards.
Yes.
So you've assessed, and here's what I've settled for in the past. No longer. I have raised my standards. I will not be
Absolutely.
denied, right? So something
Yeah.
like that.
Oh, I know what it was. Just remembered. So somebody says to me a few months ago, he says, well, you're doing this positivity stuff every day, but I don't see where it's getting you. And you know what? It reminds me of Zig Ziglar. Zig Ziglar said, positivity is like bathing. It doesn't last. You got to do it every day. And so that's what keeps me coming back to these success groups, and it really has helped me. Thanks, John.
Thank you. Consistency and persistence. Auto-suggestion, right? There it is. Thank you, Coral. Beautiful reminders. Let's go to Lieutenant Colonel Mark Riggle, who hosted a brilliant, beautiful Thanksgiving episode yesterday. Hey, Mark.
Hey, John. Thanks. What comes to my mind when you're talking this morning are these milestones and these goals that I set, and they don't necessarily. I don't attain every one every time. As a matter of fact, I'd damaging admission. Most of the time, I don't attain the goals that I set every single time, but it doesn't mean I'm giving up. And I've said this a number of times from the early days of getting involved here. I'm a 10, whether I'm at a peak or a valley. I'm always a 10. Because to go from one peak to the other, you go through a valley to get there. It's like, when you're in hell, how do you get out of hell? You push through till you get out of hell. And you just can't. If we don't keep that positive attitude and keep focused and keep ingesting all these affirmations and these things that keep us nourished in that way, that's not going to happen. So I keep reading the books. I keep the latest book right now, and I've shown it a couple times. I'm reading Ego's book. I mean, this is power of prayer, power of faith. Anything and all things that will help me push through the issues that I have, the the competition that I move through to get to where I'm going. It's just, I'm not going to give up. I do have faith. I am focused, and I will make these happen. And if it doesn't happen, then I just reset a little bit and I keep pushing, but I don't give up. I stay consistent and I stay with it. There are going to be some trials along the way. That happens in life. Well, welcome to life. Just keep pushing, man. Don't give up, and don't let it get you down. We all have our moments where we kind of dive a little bit, but you got to turn that right around. Can't get into that just that self-loathing, and let it just absorb you. Then you go into that dark hole, that rabbit hole. And again, I've made many comments here in front of everybody about what you've done for me in this environment since I've come on board. It's been very, very helpful. I owe you plenty for what you've been able to do for me, John. And I'm here. I'm here for the long haul. I won't be here every day. Of course, I wasn't here Tuesday because I was driving, but that's okay. I was on a trip, but I'm here. I need this. This is an addiction to me in a good way, in a very positive way. And I don't mean that negatively at all. It's a good transition for me. It continues to be. And anybody who's having those trials, I'm here. Let's have a conversation. Let's talk about this. I'll talk with anybody here. This is the family, man. This is the family now. This is the way it is. Thanks.
Thank you, Mark. You were reminding me, just as you were talking, you were reminding me about something that I do when I'm feeling dark, when I remember to do it, and that is to sit and get quiet. And in fact, right now we're going to hear from Nicola, who helps us sit and get quiet at least once a week. Hey, Nicola.
Hi, everyone. Hiya. It just got me thinking there, just listening to Mark talking about the need to keep this practice up every day. And I have some strange thoughts at kind of 4 o'clock in the morning. And this was one of them a few weeks ago. And I had put it out on Facebook, and it seemed to resonate with a few people. And it's just how I've started to see the mind this year. And it's kind of the equivalent of taking your body to the gym. So I've started to see the mind as a muscle that you've got to kind of work on every day, like your mind and your thoughts and all of these practices that we've spoken about on here. If you don't keep them up every day, then your mind muscle gets sloppy, just like your body would. And your thoughts start to drift to places that you don't want them to drift to. So for me personally, it sounds like Mark's very similar, I need to have this kind of daily mind gym. If I don't, and I haven't over the past kind of week or so, I know exactly what will happen, and you're just not quite on your game. So that's how I've started to kind of frame it, and it just helps me to know I'm training my mind every day and I'm keeping it sharp. And if I don't, I'll get sloppy and lazy, the same as your body would.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I think we've all kind of shared ours, but mine is visualization. You talk about setting your goals and looking ahead to next year. That's what if I don't do that and don't kind of get into the visual and the thoughts and the feelings of where I want to be and why I'm doing all this, and that's where I start, all the kind of doubt creeps in and I'll start getting lazy. So that's my one thing that I have to make sure I practice every day, just to keep that sharp as well. But, well, thanks for good reminder, actually, because especially at this time of year, which is not a bad thing, but you can just start to kind of slow down. But I think if we want to continue to trace our goals and our dreams, we've got to keep our minds sharp right throughout and right till the end of the year.
Right. Nicola, as you're talking about visualization and the end of the year, which some people look at with dread, right? Some people dread the end of the year. And I'm wondering, because again, the question, what part of that can I be responsible for? What can I do to raise someone else's emotional state? And hopefully I'm doing some of that right now, just, in our session, but also like with, philanthropic things that we can do, volunteer work, things that we can do towards the end of the year. You reminded me as you were talking that if I'm like all in my own stuff, in my own head, go do something for somebody else. Go give something. I got to remember to do that too. And of course, December's an easy time to remember to do
Yeah.
that. There's toy drives and all this. But Nicola, thank you for that reminder. I'm going to take that advice. That's good advice, everybody. Thank you, Nicola. And we've got Ego, our famous author, Ego, who just did our at 5 a.m. did our tech talk today, by the way. Tune into that tech talk with Ego. What's going on, my friend?
Hi guys, so sorry if it's a bit loud, this windy, so I'm out walking. So two things came to mind when you talked about expectations. So firstly, the way that I would see expectation is the event that's considered the most likely to happen, right? And when we think about expectation, there's expectations put on us by others, and then there's expectations that we put on ourselves. The idea is to have like positive expectations, good expectations, so that we have those positive outcomes. So starting with the expectations that others put on you, or what people expect of you, it just kind of reminds me of the challenge. So my son set a family movement challenge in November. So that's why I'm trying to basically clock in the miles. And at the outset, the onset, he said he expected to win, right? And then I have a nephew who's also 28, and then the moms and the uncles and aunties trailing behind. And he actually did say that I caught him unawares because I was determined. Yes, I know, they work out and all of that stuff, but I play to win. So, and I expect to win. And I've been acting as though I have won. And I've been persistent, I've been consistent, and they're actually blown away. So we have to be mindful of not accepting the expectation or the standards that people set for us. So that's the first. And then second thing I wanted to say was around expectancy. When we think about pregnant women, they're referred to as expectant moms, and they act with that expectancy, and they go shopping, they have the baby showers, they're excited about having this baby. Same thing with our goals, right? If we are excited about our expectation, we would pursue it with everything that we have, our time, our talent, our finances, in giving, in doing, in being consistent and persistent and everything else, with our mindset as well. So the same way an expectant mom is excited about having that baby, they have the due date in mind and they work towards that due date. Yes, I know sometimes the outcome isn't as expected. However, like I said at the beginning, I see expectation as that event that's considered most likely to happen. And mixed with faith, mixed with organized planning and everything else, it's bound to come. It's bound to come to pass. And that's all I have. I'm going to.
Wow. Thank you, Ego. Guys, what a great analogy with the expectant mother, right? If mom wasn't expecting to be a mom, she wouldn't be at the store buying the cradle, the baby bottles and copious amounts of diapers, right? I mean, that's what we do when we expect to win in this case, right? That's a win. Here's the baby. Wow. Great analogy. Thank you, Ego. Anybody else before we wrap up today? All right. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to, here comes Toba. Here comes the mighty Toba. Hooray for Toba.
Okay, John. Yeah, nice one. So Ego's story actually helped me to find something to share today. So I really appreciate that. So this is a story that happened to me a couple of years ago. after my service year. No, before my service year, we were meant to serve in certain area in my country. And I spoke to my colleague and I said, hey, I would like to serve with this organization. They all laughed at me and said, it's not possible. You don't have the grade to be able to serve in that organization, because that organization actually make sure they get the best hands that have the best grade in school. I said, okay, let's see. I don't know anybody in that organization, but I really want to serve in that organization. As it turns out, I was the only one among all my colleagues that didn't believe that we could actually serve in that organization. I was the one that was posted there. I didn't know anybody there, but because I just believe it, that's why when Ego say expectancy, I was expectant, because that was really where I really wanted to serve. And I served in that organization. So after a year, of course, you finish your service year. 3 or 4 years after, I was called back. I didn't know how it happened. I didn't know anybody again in the organization. They called me back to come and resume as a staff working in the organization. Until today, I'm still working in the organization. So sometimes it is good to have an expectant, to have a belief, to have faith. So when you say, if you don't have faith, you won't persist. So if you have a faith and you believe hold strongly to it, even if you don't know why, how, if you don't know how you are going to get it, but the fact that you believe it, your unconscious mind, your subconscious mind will actually help you to be able to get it. So that's just my contribution today.
Thank you, Toba. And another real life example that this works. Beautiful stuff. Beautiful. All right. So now I'm getting distracted by Ego's camera. Ego, can you make some noise again? I wanted to see that. While you were talking, we couldn't see you, and now you're not talking and I can see you. Everybody needs to see these buildings.
Okay, one sec. I'll flip the camera.
No, I see it. I see it. Yeah, right above your head. Look at the architecture.
It's stunning.
What's that one that you were just, get across the street first. But what's that one that was behind your head, like towering above you as you were walking?
That one?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's an office block.
Fantastic. Anyone who's not spent, thank you, Ego. Anyone who's not spent time in that region of the Persian Gulf, some of the most amazing architecture. I mean, this is where they build islands in the shape of palm trees out in the middle of the water, right? It is just unreal architecture out there. All right, so here's what we're going to do. Ivier, do you have some housekeeping? Because we're going to be wrapping up here, and then we're going to be, just so you all know, we are not having integrative nutrition today. Teresa's on break. We will, of course, have our Be Heard event, which is how we end our week here, especially if you're new. You're definitely show up on Be Heard if you want to be heard. Ivier, your thoughts.
Thank you, John. It's just about the gift drive again, just to remind people. Before we started the general session, I told some people what child they will be buying a gift for. The plan is, I've tried to match people depending on what country you're in with a child in the same country. But if for whatever reason the child you've been matched with is still a challenge for you to send a gift to that child, let me know and we can always rejig stuff. The gift limit was set at $10 or £10, but feel free to go over that if you feel led to. It's not, I'm not prescribing, but I just wanted to set something that I felt everybody in the family should be able to achieve, right? So that's what that was. We now have more family members willing to buy gifts than we have children and grandchildren. So some children are going to be lucky enough to get more than one JLSM gift under the tree. So thank you everyone for putting your names in the hats and for participating in this gift drive. If you have any other questions, reach out to me on Facebook, please. So I have a record of your requests and I can actually keep track because the chats don't stay on. And if I don't save them, then that's it. If you send anything to me in the chat, I won't get it, after this call. But yeah, thank you so much, John. Thank you, everyone.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Thanks, Ivier.
Thank you,
welcome.
Ivier, for facilitating all this. This is so beautiful. And and I will echo what Ivier was saying regarding countries. So if someone's looking to buy something in the United States and you're not in the United States, I've got an Amazon Prime account. I can help with that. So we'll get it figured out. We'll get it all handled. All right. So we do have our hospitality suite, which is about to open. We'll see some of you over there. I may be able to jump in for a few minutes myself. And Ivy, I need to get with you, Ivy, one-on-one. So we need to talk.
Okay,
you,
cool.
You and me talking. Yes. Us talking.